Yeah, so as I kept going back to Flint again, it was just like stuff was being dumped on my lap. So I kept hearing about this guy, Richard Baird, and he was the governor's right hand man. And in many cases, people thought he was like basically the governor. He was pulling the strings. He wasn't even like paid on the state payroll for several years. He was getting paid out of a super PAC. Very like sketchy. So anyway, a big push with the state administration, but other government officials, is to control the narrative. You know, you got to control what's going out in the media and things like that. Don't let the residents. So when residents would get a little too loud, maybe, pop off at a town hall, get media attention, the sirens basically were going off in the governor's office because it's not good for business. It's not good for their political careers for there to be a water crisis that they caused. So there was a resident, Adam Murphy. He was sick, young father, was having seizures from the water, memory loss, just basically falling apart. I think he was like 35 at the time. So he went to a water town hall at the beginning of 2017, understandably just flipped out at the officials there. You guys, you're just, checking boxes. You're not doing anything for us. People are dying. And he was pulled aside. The cops pulled him out. So, and the media covered his outbursts. So he got in a couple articles, this and that. And that was a no-no because obviously the governor at that time and his administration were thinking about potential criminal liability. And so they wanted to bottle this up and bury, the truth that this was still going on and still bad. So he gets pulled aside by a cop. The state trooper says, I have somebody in the governor's office I think might be able to help you and your family because his kid was born with high lead levels too because his wife was pregnant during all this. A couple weeks later, who shows up in his living room? The governor's right-hand man. On one side is a state trooper. On the other side is a former Army colonel. Basically, at first trying to butter him up like, I think I can help you guys, isn't that? So he offers him for the state to pay for very expensive medical treatment called chelation therapy, which is basically just injecting chemicals into you to extract lead out. And it's pretty painful, and you feel sick during it because it's pulling this lead out of your bones, basically, and it's expensive. And the state of Michigan could have offered that for all of Flint, but of course they didn't because why spend money to actually help people?
So crazy.
So basically, he offered this guy, the state will pay for it, but shh, you can't tell anyone who's paying for it. So they told me I honored that for a while. And they promised that if it helps you, Adam, you're going to be our lead poster child. We'll offer it to all of Flint. Of course, that was bullshit. So I found out that they were basically offering to pay off sick residents, and the residents took it because, you're dying. Of course, you're going to take help. And then I realized, he was going around Flint offering these, deals to other residents too. So basically the governor's right-hand man, and of course the governor knew about it. It's not like the governor's right-hand man's going around doing this willy-nilly. He was going around to like the loudest activists, the loudest residents who were, complaining to the media, complaining in city hall members, and just basically trying to shush them. And this was happening out in the open. He told some of these residents, I'm going to go talk to the governor about this. So the governor knew. The local media didn't report it. The national media didn't report it. I reported it, and they just buried it. And this guy, Richard Baird, he had the heaviest charges against him. He was charged with extortion, obstruction of justice, perjury, and misconduct in office. But as I'm sure we'll get into later, the charges eventually were dropped.
Unbelievable. And you think they're maybe even sabotaging some of these activists, huh? I mean, based on some of the notes you sent me, you think it's like they're committing like corporate sabotage, huh?
So, as in the case of when Erin Brockovich did her thing in California, it's usually just like normal people that are fighting back, not the politicians, but it's the residents who step up and have to fight. So in Flint, in the beginning of all this, there was like 10 to 20 residents who just became kind of water warriors. So they would meet in each other's homes and kind of like do research, and they uncovered this financial scam that I already told you about, and they noticed that they were being followed. So when they went to city council meetings and were raising hell, they started notice driving home, they kept getting followed everywhere they turned. And they'd be meeting at this one woman's house, and there'd be like unmarked cars outside. And even at McDonald's, they were meeting up, they changed it up and met at McDonald's, and they noticed the guy next to them not eating with like a recording device next to them. And then one of the loudest residents that the state government hated, because she was just always in the media, she actually sued them civilly, along with some other entities. One morning, her and her husband were driving back after a concert, and her auto brakes were cut. They just didn't work. And the next morning, they looked, and there was three holes in it.
Oh my God!
So they went to the concert hall and asked to look at the tapes, and they saw that someone in a hoodie went under their car.
Oh my God!
So they could never prove who did it, but like it was clear that they cut their brakes. And she got in touch with Erin Brockovich, who, the movie with Julia Roberts. She exposed California water contamination with corporations poisoning people. And Erin Brockovich basically told her, you got to make a choice now, and it's going to affect the rest of your life. You either shut up and protect your family, or you get in front of every damn camera you can, and you stay in front of every damn camera. Because if you are in the public eye and you're calling out specific names, then it makes it a lot harder for them to target you, because it would kind of be clear if something happened to you, who might be behind it. So it's just like, I've always said, like, you cannot, like, the best filmmaker could not write this. And it was all out there in the open. And I'm not even from Michigan. I've been there over 20 times, because, like, I love Flint, but it's not my idea of a vacation spot. I kept going back because the local media stopped covering it. The national media couldn't care less. And somebody had to. I mean, I don't think it's normal when a city is poisoned and it's covered up, and the people are just left to die, and it's just swept under the rug and said, oh, the water's fine in Flint now. It's not fine. I was just there for my book. People are online, so I signed the book, showing me their fresh rashes from the water 10 years later. There's people posting still on social media they're getting brown water. And I already mentioned cancer's through the roof. And we're getting fundraising emails, and the media hysterical about democracy. What democracy? How do you have a democracy if you vote for politicians, your vote is canceled, unelected stooges are put in, and you're poisoned? So I don't really want to hear, whatever you think of Trump or Kamala Harris or whatever. Sure, there's other problems. But at the baseline, you can't really, hyperventilate about democracy if American cities, and it's not just Flint, by the way, are being harmed, either intentionally or just through recklessness, and then kind of just left to fend for themselves. That's called sacrifice zones. and there's a lot of them.
Money and not on people.
Yeah. You know what's amazing to me, and this is why I've stayed on this for so long? I've told my audience, like, yes, this happened in Flint, but this is not a local issue.
Yeah.
This involves everyone. If you think this is just happening in Flint, it's not. I have covered water problems. I mean, at least I'm losing track. And I have emails every day about a new place: water, air, soil, fracking, mining. I just covered a story in West Virginia where the coal mines are intentionally flooding the coal mines to extract, it's called coal bed methane. And that, while they flood the coal mines, dirty water is going out to the creeks and people's drinking water, and people are sick. And the thing is, people actually do care about this stuff. They just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. We have all these different YouTube and whatever. And there's this algorithmic manipulation where I think a lot of journalists and outlets wrongly think, oh, people don't care about water, or people don't care about local corruption. They only care about reactionary, yada. Actually, people do care. It's that these algorithms are only feeding this reactionary hot take bullshit. Because when the rare times that one of my videos on water or soil break through, I mean, the comments are, I mean, it's rare to get across the board positive comments. And the comments are overwhelmingly positive because people are like, A, how is this happening? B, why is the government not doing anything? C, why is this not all over the news? Like, I use my parents as a test case because they both like Trump. They're good people. We don't agree politically, but that's fine. And they're in it every time I send them something on Flint or elsewhere. They're like, "Why isn't this all over the news?" Fox see it like, "Why are they not covering this?"
Yeah.
And the thing is, from what I could tell, this is a sexy story because A, it involves water, but it involves payoffs. It involves destruction of evidence, which we haven't even got to, witness tampering, brakes being cut. I mean, that's like a true crime movie, and it's like a real thing.
I agree.